Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're well. You're amazing, beautiful, wonderful people. This is video 2 of 3 today. I think the next video, I say that's video 2, which is unlike me to get things like that incorrect or make mistakes, especially around how many videos I'm doing or the days. I'm usually bang on with that. Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about fingers, because you guys had reached out to me. I've received a lot of emails. I've been on holiday, and I thought to myself, I'm not really going to be doing emails while I'm away. I do videos and stuff like that and comments, but emails, nah, I ain't doing it. So I've got about 3,700,000 emails to wade through, but a lot of them, as I've started to look at them, is to do with fingerprints and Jay Slater's fingerprints and how they were able to apparently ID him through said fingerprints. And then we had this specialist come out who said, no, that just can't be done. And because someone said he was a specialist, whether he said it himself, hi, I'm a finger specialist, or someone else said, check him out, he's a finger specialist, which is a lot of people, they've come to me and said you need to check him out because he's a finger specialist. And it's sounding a little bit strange, keep saying finger specialist. Obviously, he's not just a specialist in fingers. This is to do with forensics and things like that. And unbeknownst to a lot of you, I did a specialist course on forensic anthropology, forensic science, and all sorts of things. I have basically done a course on bones and how to rehydrate fingers and everything. And by course, I mean I watched the series Bones, all 10 of them back to back, watching it every day, basically. So that kind of makes me a specialist. So a lot of you reached out, probably the people who knew that I'd watched Bones and was like, look, he's going to know what he's talking about. But I do have some issues with this situation, and not so much can it be done, as the reality is it can be done. They can rehydrate hands, they can rehydrate fingers to obtain fingerprints from even mummified hands. They have before, they have got hold of mummies who are hundreds and thousands of years old. Not hundreds of thousands. You know how old mummies are, about 3,000 years old, something like that. Again, I'm a specialist. And they have rehydrated to extract fingerprints from. Obviously, they're not then going into CODIS and trying to pan that up and find out whether these mummies have been involved in crimes, but they've been able to get a finger and, it's a fingerprint. And they do that by using a method, using certain solutions, and then leaving the skin to sit in this from anything from 24 to 72 hours, and over this period of time, hopefully, you get a fingerprint. My issue with the Jay Slater situation is two things. Firstly, we cannot turn around and say so much that it cannot be done, because it certainly can be done. So this video that you're watching here, apart from seeing my beautiful face, is to understand that, look, it can be done. Jay Slater apparently was pushed, not pushed. He fell, because he wasn't watching where he was going, down a steep embankment cliff face into a ravine. So firstly, we don't know what was at the bottom of the ravine. Now, it could have been bone dry. And then, because it's down in that ravine, what will happen is, because he's gone down in the ravine, he will to some degree have been hidden by the elements. He may not have been in direct sunlight. So in terms of the decomposition rates, they would have been somewhat slowed down. So we do know, however, that the family was advised, look, you don't want to see him. He's not looking his best. So obviously, there was a degree of decomposition as to be expected in any situation when you're talking about a period of nearly a month. But in terms of the fingers, the phalanges, as they're called, we don't know the state of degradation of those. Now, some people have pointed out, quite rightly, that, look, there could have been animal activity. And again, we have to think, would there have been as much animal activity in that ravine than there would have been if he'd have just, I don't know, been mauled by a cactus and died up on the plains. Who knows? Probably not. In the ravine, again, it's about protecting from a degree of elements, including animal activity. The issue that I have is, unless that is factual, because we don't really know, there could have been animals down there that would have got hold of him, and things like the phalanges would have perhaps been subjected to being attacked by these. So, but it only takes one, and we have 10, unless you're from certain places in the world, and you probably only have 4, or even an extra one. I know there's places in the UK that I do query whether there's people with extra fingers and toes. Anyway, I digress. So look, the point being, it can be done. It can. Fingerprints can be pulled. The issue that I have is twofold here, and that is the time it takes, because it was seemingly done extremely rapidly. So it's not so much can it be done, because yes, it can be done. But can it be done that quickly? That's another question. And why would they have thought, I know what we'll do? We'll do fingerprint testing, which generally isn't the way that you would go in this situation. Not when you've got a family who is waiting to hear news and you've found a body that's within sort of walking distance from where I said he'd be found. I'm not even a cop, but I knew that would happen. Why didn't they just get DNA from the family? They could have took a buccal swab from the family and compared that with DNA taken from the body. But no, they decided to go all bones on us, forensics anthropology style, and obtained a fingerprint. And that is the issue that I have. Why specifically go down that route? Why do that method? Was the method that they used the most practical? Was they turned it around really quick? And what did they compare it to? What did they compare the fingerprint to? Would they then be liaising with police in the UK to pair the DNA, the fingerprints to fingerprints held when Jay Slater was obviously arrested for the attack in the UK? So there's questions around it, but you guys reached out and you said, look, Haas, we know, again, like I say, you knew I was a specialist, you knew I'd done that course, also known as Watching Bones, and it's been done in that. That wasn't the only reference. I'm not sitting here because I've read through stuff as well. Like, I've got something in front of me here which you can't see because for some reason it's invisible on that screen. But this is literally a study on obtaining fingerprints from mummified fingers, a method for tissue rehydration adapted from the archaeological literature. And it goes on to actually give you the details of the fluid that they use. 10 grams of Na2CO2, which is sodium carbonate. I don't know why I didn't just say that. 316 mil, very precise, of 95% ethanol, and 684 mil of distilled water. And they do this process over a period from anything from 24 to 72 hours. Very good. I think it's called the Ruffer rehydration method. So look, I do know. I'm learning. I'm a learner. So yeah, you reached out and said, look, can you do it? I did it. Can it be done? Yes. Why did they do it? Fuck knows. Was it the best method they could have used? Probably not. Does it help with anything? No. Absolutely not. And does it let us know how this all happened? No, not at all. Absolutely not. But it's done now. I don't have to talk about it anymore. Can it be done? Yes. I'll catch you all in the next one.